have your attention, please. The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
My mic is on mute, so I'm going to just re-say everything that I said. Usually I come on here at 5 p.m. Eastern time doing the home theater hangout, but I did take a nap, so I figured I would come out, hang out with you guys for a little bit. Hang out for like an hour or so for some of you late night owls. But I think the news this week is obviously going to be, CES and all the new tech and stuff like that that's been announced. Give me 1 second here. What's up, Craig? Craig Osterberg in the house. Hi, Shane. No sound. Yeah. Hopefully it's fixed. Is it fixed? Is my sound fixed? Check. Okay, now it's working. Craig Osterberg, Jared. What's up, Jared? What's up, Bert? Bye. And K-Man. What's up, K-Man? Listen, I know there's not a lot of people going to be awake right now. That's okay. That's all right. Let's still talk about, anyways, probably the big news. I actually downloaded the little SVS Instagram short that was on their feed yesterday or the day before, and I uploaded it to the channel because it's probably like the biggest news, right? In the audio world. If there's something else, I might have missed it. What's up, Easy HT Tech? What's up, Ike? But let's talk about these bad boys right here. These are let's switch screens here. These are the brand new SVS speakers. I am sure some of you hanging out tonight probably have some SVS speakers, but I'm going to be honest with you, I've never heard any SVS speakers. I know they've been out for years and years, but I've never actually got them in for a review. When I first started YouTube in 2017, I think my first subwoofer review was actually the PB16. And by that time, I knew everybody already had reviewed the SVS Pinnacle Primes or Ultra series of speakers. So I never wanted to review them because there was already like a ton of reviews at the time. But I'll tell you what, these kind of have piqued my interest. I mean, let's face it, they seem to be borrowing a little bit from Focal. You can look at the Focal Utopia series or the Sopras, the Cantas, maybe some Wilsons. They got the slight curvature on the front baffle, which kind of helps with time alignment so that the woofer, mid-range, and tweeter all arrive at the same time. So they're angled. Instead of like shooting straight at you and just like going that way, since they're angled, they aim downwards and they all kind of like meet in the middle. You know what I mean? So you get the mid-range and the tweeter and the treble hitting your ears all at the same time. So they should be time aligned. So I kind of like that. I just like the look in general. I think I'm definitely going to have to get these in for a review at some point. But let's go over the models really quick now that we all know the prices of these things. Starting at the top, and listen, anybody chime in if you've heard any of the SVS speakers, or do you own them? Like, what do they sound like? Because I've never heard them before. So I'm curious to know, like, your take on them. But the big boys in the upper corner here, the Ultra Evolution Pinnacle speakers are $5,000 a pair. I mean, that's not like super affordable. It's also not really expensive either. I would say that's a pretty good like mid-range price for a pair of nice large floor standing tower speakers. So that's $5,000 a pair. And then we have the Ultra Evolution Titan, which is $4,000 a pair, so $1,000 cheaper. Ultra Evolution Tower, which is $3,000 a pair, which are these guys. The Ultra Evolution Bookshelf is $1,300. Ultra Evolution Nano, which is their smallest stand mount speaker, $900 a pair. The Ultra Elevation, which is $900 a pair. And then the Ultra Evolution Center, which is also $900 a pair. So the bottom three tier of speakers are $900 a pair. Then goes to $13,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, which isn't a ridiculous amount of money for these speakers. I mean, I'm assuming they probably are pretty good quality. If it's any indication of what their subwoofers are built like, then I'm sure these speakers got to be built equally as premium as well. Reminded me of the Gauder aux stick when I saw the Curve. I've never heard of those speakers, Bird Ball. I guess I'm going to have to Google them now. But let's look at the specs really quick on these. The big ones. These guys here, the Ultra Evolution Pinnacle. Acoustically centered time alignment architecture maximizes phase coherence, pinpoint accuracy, and convincing soundstage. It's got a 1-inch diamond-coated tweeter with organic cell lattice diffuser for airy, unveiled highs and pristine clarity. You know, I don't have a close-up of the tweeter, but it's got like the grill with the different perforations on it, which look a little bit like the Paradigm tweeters. At least the grill does, not the actual tweeter, but the grill does. It's got dual 2¼ inch mid-range drivers. It's got quad 8-inch woofers and a force-balanced opposed array to energize room with deep, potent, and accurate bass. It's got a chamfered front baffle, so it's got that nice little curve around the front, which I dig. Flush-mounted drivers reduce edge diffraction and improved off-axis frequency response. Comes in piano, gloss black, gloss white, and black oak veneer. I mean, I really feel like they should have offered it in a matte black finish. Like, I don't know why you wouldn't do that. I mean, if the Arendelle speakers are so popular, they're matte black, or satin black rather, I think these speakers would look pretty sick. Satin black finish. And then we got the Ultra Evolution Towers. Same thing. Acoustically centered time alignment. It's got the same 1-inch diamond coated tweeter. It's got dual 4.5-inch instead of the 5¼ so you step down in the mid-range driver from 5¼ to 4.5, and instead of quad 8-inch woofers you get quad 6.5-inch woofers. Same thing, force balanced opposed array, so you get two drivers, one in the back, one in the front, and they kind of cancel each other out, so you don't get any like resonance inside the cabinet. Same color. Then the Ultra Evolution Tower, same design, 1-inch tweeter, dual 4.5s, but instead of the 6.5-inch woofers, you get the 5.25-inch woofers. So once again, you step down in the smaller woofer for these guys, the Ultra Evolution Towers. So as you step up, 4, 5, and then you get the 8 with the pinnacle. Then the Ultra Evolution Bookshelf, reference bookshelf speakers, a technological tour de force that stands toe-to-toe with the finest loudspeakers in the world, delivering reference sound for audiophiles and home theater fans. Acoustically centered time alignment, architecture, 1-inch same tweeter. You get the 6.5-inch woofer on the front, and same color options, Ultra Center, same 1-inch tweeter, 4.5-inch mid-range driver, and dual 6.5-inch woofers in balance and force balanced opposed array. So I guess there's a interesting. Is there woofers on the back? Dual 6.5-inch woofers. Same color options. Ultra Evolution Nano. This is the little bookshelf, 1-inch. So they all share the same 1-inch diamond coated tweeter. The Nano small bookshelf has 5.25-inch woofer. Also the same color options. And then of course the Ultra Elevation 1-inch dome tweeter, diamond coated tweeter, 5.25-inch glass fiber composite woofer, chamfered front baffle, and then the SVS multi-angle wall and ceiling bracket allows for mounting in any direction, including overhead. So very cool, man. I can't wait to hear these speakers. I dig it. I mean, I'll be honest with you. Part of the reason why I never reviewed the original Ultra series of speakers are because I thought they were kind of I didn't think they were very attractive looking, so I never wanted to get them in for a review because you live with these speakers. You're going to look at them all the time, so you kind of want to have something attractive in your house, right? For me personally, I never really liked the original lineup of Ultra speakers, their speakers, so I never wanted to have them in the house. But I dig these speakers because they do kind of remind me of some Focal Cantas. What is the what's the question here? What's the advantage of having those woofers firing to the rear? That curve is kind of weird. Surprised they didn't add 2 sub speakers on the center. So the woofers are going to be in their own separate chambers, and then you got one driver in the front, one driver in the back. So force canceling, so they kind of like cancel the waves out, so you get a nice look, kind of like taut response. So like subwoofers like the SB, like the micro, what is it called, the micro 8 or something like that, SVS micro. It's got like the dual opposed 8-inch subs in there, drivers, kind of like the same concept. I mean, there's so many other speakers that do it. I mean, Arendo's got the dual opposed 13s. Kef's got the dual opposed 9s. Martin Logan has the dual opposed 12s and 10s. So I mean, it's nothing new. I mean, Kef's got them on their flagship speakers as well. Dang, we late night streaming tonight. We are late night streaming tonight. That's it. The 3000 micro, the SVS 3000 micro. So I guess the big ones, the Pinnacle, the Evolution Pinnacles, are like having 2 3000 micros built in because they've got dual opposed 8s front and rear. So that speaker's probably going to go down to about 20 hertz. I mean, there's no specs. I don't have any specs here for it. Like any frequency response specs here. Nah. No, just the driver complement and kind of like the time alignment specs. That's it. But they don't give me frequency response specs. I mean, if you guys know what the frequency response specs are, then feel free to share them. But I would expect, at least the Ultra Evolution Pinnacle to sound like having a pair of 3000 micros built into it. Shane, you've been changing your cinema speakers quite a few times. Have you ever considered going for custom built speakers? Something like Toyd's Home Build Audience 212. Would I ever do a DIY custom built speakers? No, I wouldn't do that because I am not a speaker designer. I'm not a speaker engineer. I have no idea how to make a speaker. And no, I would never do something like that. I mean, that's not me. I know I don't know how the speakers would interact with the crossover, blah 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 blah. I mean, that's not my job. I don't want to pretend to even know how to make my own speakers. That's why they come pre-made. That's like asking me to make my own car. No, I don't know how to make a car. Why would I do that? But no, I would never even entertain the thought of making my own speakers or even my own subwoofers. The only thing I would make my own, I'd make my own cheeseburgers. I'd make my own food. I won't make my own speakers. Almost missed this. Hey guys, what's up, Mark Reed? Mark Reed hanging out late tonight. I'm sure there's not going to be a lot of people here tonight because, it's 1 o'clock in the morning. That's okay though. Would you consider testing a paid of them if you got them sent to you? Paid equals pair, typo. Would I consider testing out a pair of them if I got them sent to you? I don't know, man. I don't know if I would. I'd have to think about it. I mean, like, who made them? Did somebody actually make them? Like, did you make them? What else we got here? Sorry. I'll probably edit this video. But those are the brand new SVS Evolution speakers. What do you guys think about these speakers? Would you consider buying them at some point in the future? Would you replace your other SVS speakers for these new Evolution speakers? Leave your comments down below and let me know. What's up, Marv Aloha? Let me go back to this. Listen, Mark Reed, thank you for being a YouTube member subscriber. Okay, fair. Listen, if you made the speakers yourself and you sent them to me for review and they happen to get damaged on their way to me, or if I sent them back and they got damaged, I wouldn't want to be responsible for the damages to your speakers that you built yourself. You spent a lot of time making your own speakers, so I wouldn't feel comfortable reviewing speakers that you had DIY'd yourself. Whereas if it was like a brand like SVS or like Focal or whoever, they're like insured, so if something were to get damaged, they have like 1,000 other of the same speakers, whereas yours is kind of a one-off. I would not want your speaker to get damaged, leaving me back to you. So part of the reason why I don't like people sending me stuff, because there's no telling what's going to happen once it leaves my hands or once it gets to me. I mean, something could happen as well, and I wouldn't want to be responsible for that. Spliffy Bendrix, I love SVS as I love SVS as like a concept and run their subs, but I just can't find any of their speakers attractive looking. Oh man, I said that about their other speakers, but I do like the way that these ones look. Obviously, you don't like the way they look. Mark Reed, I saw The Beekeeper today in IMAX laser, fun movie and mix. Yeah, I'm probably gonna see that. What's today? Is it Friday now? I think it's Friday. Today's Friday. I think I'm going to go see that on Sunday. So I think we're doing a double feature on Sunday. I'm going to go see The Iron Claw with Zac Efron. And I'm also going to go see The Beekeeper. So we're going to be doing a double feature, I think, come this Sunday. For what I've heard, some reviewers agree that even though SVS are really good speakers, they are a bit overpriced. Oh, that's interesting. I mean, I thought I don't think these prices are ridiculous. At least the new ones. I mean, they look like they should be worthy of their price. I mean, the Ultra Evolution Pinnacle, $5,000 a pair. It's got dual posed 8s on the top and bottom. I mean, that's like having two Micro 3000s built into the subwoofer. I mean, that's a pretty good deal, I think. I guess the proof is in the pudding. I guess we'll have to hear them. Los Hopeful. How complicated is to set up the Trinov, and when you bought it, did it have to be set up by the seller? All sellers I find online kind of allude to that is required. That is not true whatsoever. You can buy yourself a Trinov wherever you want. Listen, if you want to buy a Trinov, you send me an email. I might be able to get you a pretty good deal on one. You can find the email down below in this video's description. But no, you do not have to get your seller to set it up for you. Maybe different dealers are different. But no, you can typically just buy yourself the Trinov, and keep in mind that you will have to purchase the microphone separate. So the calibration mic is separate. I don't know if the price has changed, but when I bought it was $750. It might be $800 now. Wouldn't surprise me if it went up in price. So I guess figure between $700 and maybe $900 for the microphone, which is extra. You can't do the calibration without that microphone. So whichever model you get, the 16, the 24, 32, add like an extra $800 onto it for the mic. And no, setup is pretty straightforward. There is, I mean, if you watch my video, I did a review on it about 1.5 years ago, maybe 2 years now, about 2 years ago. I did a review on it, and there's a two-parter. I think part 1 is the setup, and then I think part 2, I think, is the review, my normal review that I do. And there's a nice little graphical user interface, GUI, that kind of walks you through the steps of setting up your speakers, and then plugging in the mic, and then hitting the start button, and it kind of runs through the entire cycle of calibration tones. So pretty easy. If you know how to use Odyssey, you can figure out how to set up your Trinov. Although, if you want to get really deep into the weeds in the Trinov, there's like a expert section, which also it's covered in the video. So if you know what you're doing, you can mess around with that stuff and really get really granular into the calibration. But no, you don't have to have it professionally calibrated when you first buy it. Marv, hopefully SVS tamed the tweeters a little. Had the Ultra bookshelves for a short time, and they were a little bright for my liking. Just my opinion. That's interesting. I mean, well, these new tweeters are going to be like diamond coated, so I would wager they might be equally as bright. I don't know. Starscape SG1. Remember when you and Brass used to get drunk on here? That was hilarious. Listen, who's to say I'm not drunk right now? I'd assume if you make the investment in a Trinov, you would want their support. I mean, if you're, is the same guy that asked the question? Well, you always have this where if you buy a Trinov, then you can have them remotely calibrate it for you, and you can reach out to them. I think like I don't want to say like 24 hours a day, but during any business hours, I guess, and they usually get back to you pretty quickly. Like if you reached out to them, they probably get back to you like within the hour, and then they can remotely calibrate your Trino for you. All you gotta do is give them the little serial number on the back. They can remotely connect in. They'll tell you where to place the mic. You run through the whole rigmarole of taking measurements in different seats, and you could do this with remotely. So yeah, with your investment, you do get their support, like their support themselves. I don't know what your dealer is going to offer you support for, but like Trinov will directly support you. And it's a lot of money. I mean, it went up like substantially from last year to this year. I think the Altitude 32 was like $42,000 now. I believe it was like 30. I think it was like $35,000 last year, and then it went to like 42. So that's a pretty big price increase. There is audio/freak YouTube channel, which is great tutorial to set up your Trino by yourself. It's in German, but you can have English subtitles. It's great and detailed. Oh, there you go. Listen, if you want to listen in German, it's in German. Would you do a direct art and Trinov comparison? Man, that would be tough because I guess I would have to have like a Storm processor and then the Trinov at the same time. And I've never once gotten a Storm processor in for a review. Like they never sent one to me. So that's probably not going to happen. I mean, it would be cool. I wouldn't mind checking out a Storm processor, but I don't see that happening anytime in the near future. What else we got here? Any other questions here? If no questions, then I'm gonna have to log off. What else did I feel like I had something else I wanted to talk to you tonight. Are you finally moving into a house and that's why no setup right now? That is correct. I do not. I'm homeless right now. So I'm just hanging out in a bedroom. And possibly come February 1st, I might be in a new home. We'll find out how everything goes. Look at this. We got some of the smaller channels are coming on late night stream tonight. Just come to Florida and check out art on my system. You know, once you come to the kind of like the upper echelon in the processor world in home theater, it's like you almost, I don't know if you guys have ever noticed this on my channel lately, but it's like ever since I've gotten the Trinov, like I haven't really reviewed any receivers or any other processors because it's hard. It's really hard once you get to the top to want to go back down. So the chances of me really checking out art on a Storm processor probably thin, because once you really have the best, do you really want to go back down? Probably not. I don't see that being a feasible thing, especially having to travel down to Florida. But did you guys watch Gene's video on do measurements really matter? Look at this. Gene's up in the chat. You scaring all the commenters. You scaring all the subscribers away. Question is, did you guys watch Gene's video about measurements, and how do you guys feel about measurements? Do you guys listen with measurements in data and graphs, or would you prefer to listen to your speakers and audio gear with just your ears? Do you really need data to back up your listening preferences? I'm curious about that. You guys should answer that question. And if you guys give a really good response, there might be a prize at the end of this stream if I like your answer. Starscape SP, what's the clan Elias up to these days? Elias is home right now. I don't know what Elias is doing, but I saw Elias last week. He's doing very well, and he sends his love to all of the old Spare Change subscribers and viewers. I'm sure he'll be on. Once I move into the new place, I'm sure he'll be on. Once I get everything up and running, we'll make sure we'll have him back on to talk about Klipsch speakers. REW. Listen, it doesn't count. If you don't measure your speakers on a clipple, it don't count. Anything else? Damn, man, you guys quiet, bro. You guys quiet tonight. Oh, also, if you guys had missed Gene's live stream over there on the car channel, Savage Geese, you guys should check that out. He the host there had a nice little analogy on measurements and listening as well. You know, like, you guys have to watch the video. It's pretty long. I only watched the first 15 minutes of it, but I guess the interesting stuff came within the first couple minutes. What else we got here? Hold on. I had a couple of topics I wanted to discuss. Let me grab my phone. Okay, hold on. Give me a second here. Let me go to my notes. Oh, so in case you guys had missed the video, I did do my best of 2023, which was a couple of days ago. And oddly enough, listen, I tried to make that best of 2023 best of gear. I tried to not to go like crazy expensive, but I actually got, like, oddly enough, I got some nasty hate on that video because a lot of folks didn't think it was like an affordable list. But I actually went out of my way. I tried to go with like a high end product and then kind of like a mid-tier product. So, like, I gave the Perlisten R210 sub, my best sub that I reviewed last year. But at the same time, I gave the RSL 12S, also best subwoofer of the year for its price category, which is $800. And a lot of people were just like, everything is astronomically expensive, which I didn't understand because I gave you a nice high-end piece that I really liked during the year and also a nice affordable piece during the course of the year. So I still don't get, after like 5-6 years now on YouTube, people get so upset when something is over $1,000. I don't understand the hate behind that. I mean, what do you guys feel? Do you guys feel like the stuff that I talk about here is like a little bit too expensive, or how do you guys feel about that? Some of these guys, man, they really take it personally. Some of these guys take it personally. They really like try to like attack you. It's like, hey man, I'm not buying this stuff, and you know. And then there's a lot of guys that are just like, hey, you have like unlimited funds for everything. It must be nice to be ultra rich. I'm like, dude, I've been doing this for like 6 years now. Obviously, I'm not paying for everything. Specs are a starting point. Listening to components and their interaction with each other is more important. Look at that. That's what I'm talking about. Mark Weston. Specs are a nice start. I don't even know. I'm trying to think, if I'm going to purchase something, do I look at the specs first? If I'm going to buy a speaker, do I look at the specs first? I don't. Not me personally. I mean, if I'm buying speakers, the first thing I look at is it a cool looking speaker? I mean, maybe I'm just shallow, but I really care about aesthetics because it's going to be in your living room or your music room. I want it to be good looking first, and then I might peek over at the specs. But usually it'd be like, if I go to a showroom, I look at the speaker. Oh man, it's got beautiful wood veneer, or it's got a nice lacquer finish. And then I'll sit down and listen to it, and if I like it, I'll buy it. I don't think me looking at specs ever really comes into play, especially when it comes to speakers. It's just like aesthetics, good sound, give you the wallet. At least that's how my brain thinks. John Lira, I saw the video. It was good. Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate that. You just thought my video was good. Los Hopeful, would you go back to Arendal speakers? Would I go back to Arendal speakers? I mean, I never really owned. I mean, I guess I kind of owned Arendal speakers. I mean, I've only had them for like, I think I had the Arendal speakers for probably like less than a year. But then most of the speakers I've had has been about a year, maybe a little less than a year. I've had the M&Ks that lasted. Well, the M&Ks were like the original speakers, so that lasted a little bit. But that was like before I started YouTube. You know, after that, then what else did I have? I had the Arendals. It was like a year. Then I had the Barrows and Wilkins. That was a good solid year. And then I know I had Perlissons for a little bit. That was a few months. I lived with the Dollies. I got the Ascendos now. I feel like I had something before the Ascendos. I had the Procellas for a good solid year, just about a year. And then from the Procellas, I moved over to the Ascendos. So, yeah, I mean, I've had a bunch of stuff, but I've never really owned anything for over a year. And I probably wouldn't go back to the Arendals because I've already had them. And, you know, unless they were to come out with something new that was extraordinary or evolutionary in their lineup. Because let's face it, the 1961s, you know, that was definitely, it was a step down from the 1723s, or I forgot whatever the year the numbers are, but whatever their bigger speakers are, the 1961s were definitely more aimed for the, you know, smaller rooms and more affordable stuff. So I wouldn't go back to Arendal unless they had a nice, you know, upgrade in like design and then sound quality, very much like what SVS has just done. I mean, I like this new design over the old Ultra Pinnacle speakers, where it would come to like, I would consider owning some SVS speakers just because I like the way they look. So if Arendal were to come out with something that was equally as cool looking, because that's the only reason why I first reviewed the Arendal speakers, because I thought they were really cool looking, and then I emailed them to get them in for a review, and then they obliged, and then, as they say, the rest is history. Now everybody has Arendal speakers, but they would have to get something. They would have to get something new and interesting. Also, Shane, love your channel. Great material and presentation. Watch all your vids. Keep it up, man. Thank you, Rich P. Appreciate the kind words. And what's up? Rich P. Shane, I have 7.2.4 Atmos 13.2 Oro 3D 7.2.6 with VOG top center, Arcam, AVR21, Mac amps. Look at you, baller. All B&W. Been going through so many reference Atmos 4K Blu-rays. Almost all better in Oro upmix. Your thoughts? Oh, my thoughts in the Oro. Actually, me and Gene, actually, there's a video on the channel where we give our thoughts on Oro 3D. You'll have to check it out. I forgot the name of the video, but I'm pretty sure it's under probably like Spare Change or maybe like Shane Lee Oro 3D. But there's definitely a video where we have a little discussion about it. So you should definitely check out that video. Hamza. Oh, sorry. Where is it? Where did that go? Hamza. Price of the Hisense. 110 inch UX. Over under 15 grand. The Hisense 110 inch UX. Is it over under 15 grand? I'm going to say it's probably at 110 inches, seeing how the 100 inch is like 5 grand now. And you could have got it for like, was like 4 grand during Black Friday. I'm going to say the 110 inch Hisense is going to come under $15,000. That's my prediction. If it doesn't come under $15,000, it will be under $15,000 by the end of the year. I'm sure it'll be under $10,000 by the end of the year. It'll probably be at least $6,000 by the end of the year. That's my guesstimation. Any plans on getting any of the OLED TVs for this year? No, I got zero plans. I'm not a big fan of OLED TVs, man. I know people love OLED TVs, but I feel that the mini LED TVs, or just LEDs in general, look more cinematic. I know you can disagree or not, but I feel that there's a slightly, I don't want to say softer look to an LED set, but it does have less of an edge to it, which looks more similar to what a projection looks like. Most of the OLEDs do have that really glossy screen to them, so there's a bit of more of a sheen to that image, more of a glossy, just a shiny look. OLEDs just really have that colorful shininess to them, you know what I mean? Whereas LEDs, micro LEDs, just a little more flatter looking, which I am more of a fan of. Hence why I have 2 mini LEDs in my home. And do I have any more OLEDs? I actually gave my mother my last OLED, which was the A9G, which I think was from like 2018. So I gave that to her because I think I only used that for maybe less than 100 hours. So since I wasn't using it, she put it in her kitchen. So she has the OLED in her kitchen right now. Let's see. Mark Reed. What's this here? You told someone their 77-inch TV was kitty sized. It is kitty sized. I mean, I lived with a 75-inch for a couple of years. That's a small TV. That's a small TV. 75 is like the new 55. Everybody's got them nowadays. So 77 is like barely bigger than a 75. Aaron Click, do you think there will ever be a point where 4K playback issues will not be a thing? There seems there are a lot of issues with some players not playing discs correctly. I think it's some of the players just have a hard time like switching layers, so they probably skip a little bit, or they might pixelize a little bit, make some noises. I just think the players now, they haven't like made any new players aside from like Magnetar and I think Revon are like the newest players. But like the main players I think have been having some troubles, like the Sonys, the LGs, maybe some of the lower end Panasonics. I mean, them things have been going for the past like 5 years now, right? They haven't really come out with any new models. Man, I heard LG was supposed to come out with a new 4K Blu-ray player this year. I don't know if that happened or not. Maybe they announced it at CES. I am not sure. I haven't really been following, but I did hear that LG was supposed to come out with a new 4K player this year. But I think that's why. Any thoughts on SVS's new speaker line? If you scroll the little timeline, go all the way back to the beginning of the stream, there's a whole, little breakdown of the models and the prices on the SVS speakers. Your thoughts on the AVM90 8K processor? Well, I did get to check out the AVM90 at Teo's house, who is also a reviewer on Audioholics. There's actually a full review over there, and I'm not sure if I shot that video for him or not. Maybe he shot it himself, but I forgot. But yeah, I got to check it out at his place. It's super nice. Yeah, man, it's a flagship processor. It's a great sounding processor. I got to hear it with his 4 SVS subwoofers and some Revel speakers. I forgot what the model of the Revels were, but that hooked up to I think it was a Sony OLED. I think it was like a 77-inch, by the way. It was a nice size, although a little bit small. I think he has like a 77-inch OLED. It's a little small, but yeah, great processor. Super, very, very good with the placements of the effects. We listened to Dune, Top Gun, and some 2-channel music on it. So yeah, that's a great sounding AVR. So watch that review on the Audioholics channel. It's the full reviews on the channel there. Are those SVS supposed to be better than the standard Ultra speakers? Well, from what he says, from what Gary says and Nick says, they are indeed an upgrade over the older models. So if you have the older models, maybe you want to upgrade to the newer ones. I don't know. I've never heard the older ones, so I can't really say. Would you still recommend an Oppo 203, 205 over the Panasonics? I probably, unless you got like a brand new in-box stock Oppo 203, 205, then maybe I would. Actually, no, I still wouldn't. I wouldn't do that because I think the Panasonic still did a better job of image processing, and the HDR was better, and build quality is definitely better than the Oppo players. The only thing the Oppo players really had going for it when I had the Oppo 203, it did have the HDMI input, so if you wanted to use the aspect ratio switching, which is pretty cool if you have a projector that needed that feature. None of the other, I think no other Blu-ray player ever had that. Only the Oppo did, was the HDMI input in the video scaling. So that was probably one of the best features for me until I got the JVC, and then JVC did it by itself. And then the media playback was really good on it, so it had a really good file support. So if you had a lot of like MP4s and AVIs and stuff like that, it pretty much played, I believe, almost everything. Whereas the Panasonic will not play all those files as good, or even if they could play them better than the Oppo. So I mean, if you were going to consider a 203, like I said, I would probably get a brand new one. That way you don't have any issues like the aforementioned comment of, maybe skipping or having problems switching layers, because those players and lasers have probably been used, especially if it's 203 and Oppo. You probably had an enthusiast owned it prior to it being sold used. It's probably been used hardcore. Hence, they want to sell it. It's probably having a hard time reading discs by now because it's pretty old. So unless you can get a new one, I would say no. Get yourself a Magnetar or a Revon, which is essentially an Oppo in different clothing. Or just go ahead and get yourself a Panasonic. What does it say? Is this move? I love value electronics and was going to get the Magnetar 900, but changed my mind since I only play 4K Blu-ray. I will just replace the Panasonic. I'll just replace the Panasonic. Oh. Yeah, man, either way you go, man, the Magnetar 900 or the Panasonic are both great players. I mean, if you want a universal player, then the 900 clearly is would be the way to go. Or if you want to use it for like music. But if you're just gonna play 4K Blu-ray, then yeah, man, it's $1,000. I still have the Panasonic. I have both. I've got both players, and they're both really wonderful players for sure. Just for 4K Blu-rays, yeah, let's get the Panasonic. You save $2,000. What's this? Shane, you shouldn't be worried about people's opinion. You know what they can do with it, right? Write it on a piece of paper, fold it, and put it somewhere. Is anyone else besides Panasonic and Sony still making 4K players? Man, Sony's not even making 4K players anymore. I mean, unless you count the PlayStation 5. But yeah, Sony hasn't come out with a new player in years. And Panasonic did have that little small kind of like quiet refresh on the 900. But nothing. There's nothing really that changed on it though. But aside from that, then yeah, the Revon and the Magnetar are the other two brands that are making 4K players. Good morning from Germany. What's up, MA3NI68? What does that mean? Not sure what that's supposed to spell. From all the speakers you reviewed, which would you pick for home theater and to channel around the same price as a Rendell's? For home theater? Oh, for the same price as a Rendell's. Man, I don't even know what a Rendell's cost anymore. Well, I mean, I own the Per Listens. Listen, you hear me talk about them all the time because I have them, but you can get the Per Listen monitor speakers, the R5M monitor speakers, which I think are probably like the same price as the Rendell Towers. But it's going to be a better sound, and aside from maybe the bass or just like the SPL, which you can kind of mitigate if you have a subwoofer with it. But just as far as like the tonality and the detail, and it's just a better sounding speaker. You mix that with a nice quality subwoofer, man, you got a way better speaker than the Rendell speaker, and I think it's about the same price. So I mean, if you're in that ballpark, look at the Per Listen R5M monitors, or if you want to go a little bit smaller, you can go with the the R4M monitors or bookshelves, R4B. It's a little bit smaller, but I could see the attraction with the Rendell because it's a bigger speaker, it's a bigger tower. But I think if you want like clarity and just like accuracy, then man, there's not too many speakers better than those Per Listen ones, the R series or the S series. You could also go like some Martin Logans, although the build quality is a little bit better on the Rendells. But I was saying, yeah, the Martin Logan's in the same ballpark for like sound quality. I mean, I reviewed like what did I review? The F200s or F20s? I forgot. It was a while ago. It was a couple months ago. But I would put the Perlissons, Martin Logans. Those are really the only ones that come to mind if you're kind of in that, mid-tier price range. Oh, or the XTZ. Yeah, the XTZ. Well, I don't know if the XTZ would really be a good competitor to the Arendos, because you could really use the Arendos without a subwoofer. They have some pretty decent bass with them. In the right room, they can sound pretty good and belt out a lot of SPL. Whereas the XTZ, I wouldn't say they. Not for music, because there's really no bass out of those speakers. At least not the ones that I reviewed. You must have a subwoofer with the XTZs, because it's really meant to be paired up with their 12s. Because they're also THX certified, but I think they're ultra certified. Actually no, my bad. They used to be THX certified, the XTZs. Now they didn't pay for the licensing because they didn't want to pay the extra, so they're not THX certified no more, even though nothing has changed from the older THX versions. That being said, you definitely still would need a subwoofer, because they sound really thin without a subwoofer. They're very light sounding without a subwoofer. Whereas the Rendals, they sound full without a subwoofer. So I don't think I would put the XTZ as a good competitor for them. Martin Logan better than the 1723s. Are the Martin Logans better than the 1723? I'll tell you what. I know the Martin Logan's definitely got some more bass than the 1723s. That's for sure. I think the top end's a little bit smoother too. I believe the Arendos are a little bit brighter than the Martin Logans. So if you like a little smoother sound up top, then the Martin Logans, the bass, Martin Logan's got it bass-wise for sure. 100% bass-wise. If you want a lot of bass, Martin Logan's got that. Build quality, Arendo's got that. In spades. Bigger soundstage, I would probably give it to the Arendos as well. So there's a little give and take both those models, depending on what you're looking for. You building your new HT or hiring a company, and what's going to be your final set, gear, and seating? I'm still going to use my old setup. It's just moving into a bigger space, so I'll still have all the same stuff. I'll still have the Trinov. I'll still probably have the Trinov amps or the Macintosh amps. Probably both. I think I'm going to need both. I think I'm going to need all 4 amps actually. I'm still going to have the same player. So I'm going to have the Cloud Escape, the Zapedi with the new software, Panasonic and Magnetar for disc playback. I still have my AudioQuest power conditioner. I will still have the Ascendo speakers. And I think subwoofer wise, I'm going to be getting the 21-inch RBH subwoofer in for some infrasonics, and then I'll be pairing that up with the RBH Dual 12s that I've got, which I did a review on about 6 months back. So if you missed that review, I did do those two, double stacked 12-inch RBH subwoofers. So those might go into the back of the room, and the 21 might go in the front of the room behind the screen or behind the false wall. I'll see how that works out, how tall that 21-inch is, because I don't want to give up my center back surround. So we'll see how that works out. And then the projector is still going to be the JVC NZ8, unless they come up with something better this year. I don't think they announced anything this year. But that's going to be it. And then the seats are still going to be, I think, the Valencia Barcelonas. I mean, if you guys want to get some great seats, man, for your home theater, Valencia, Barcelona, they got the low back. It comes up to like 30, I think 31 or 32 inches tall. It's like pretty shallow. So it leaves your ears open for the entire surround effects. Most people buy those Oslos or the Tuscanys, which are just, there's just big pillows that cover your ears, and you really don't want that if you want to get really great surround effects. I mean, you want to get yourself a nice low audiophile back chair. Valencia, Barcelona's. Check out my video. Valencia, Barcelona. Sweet looking chairs, comfortable chairs, big chairs, by the way. They're very wide chairs. But those are going to be my chairs, my seats of choice. Good morning from the Netherlands. Good morning, Denny Mars. Since you place high value to how a speaker looks, have you seen or heard the B&W 801 signature in California Borough? I think it's one of the most beautiful speakers on the market. Yes, I have seen that speaker, and I would like wood finished speakers, but that's a sexy looking speaker. I mean, just the dark wood grain behind the gloss finish. Oof. It's a great looking speaker, man. Hell yeah. Chabrubin, I can't figure out how to apply to the Audioholics Martin Logan giveaway. Chabrubin, I don't even know how to apply myself, so I couldn't tell you. I don't know the answer to that one. You're going to have to leave a comment for Gene. I'm sure Gene will tell you how to do that. Would you recommend tower speakers in a home theater or bookshelf and subs under 80 hertz? And the bookshelves or something like the Ascendos when covered in cinema? Would I recommend tower speakers in a home theater? Sure, you can do a tower speakers in a home theater. Yeah, if you have the space, I don't see why not. I probably would if I had a really big space. I mean, I tried those Dev Techs out with the subs. I mean, I would love to have like 7 or 8 or 9 of those in a home theater, because I think that would fucking rock. That would just fucking kill. Or bookshelves and subs under 80 hertz, and the bookshelves are something like the Ascendos when covered in cinema. I really think it depends on your space. If you have the space, rock out with some towers. If you don't like the aesthetics of having towers everywhere, then do the bookshelves and subs. I mean, either way, bookshelves or the Ascendos, you're gonna need subs either way. So it depends on your room size and your aesthetics, and if you like the sound of the speakers. So it's really a subjective thing on your part there. But I would go either way. I mean, I have the Ascendos, so you know which way I went. Amen on the Valencia Barcelona. Yes, man. Yes, Mark Weston. Mark Weston, do you have events Valencia Barcelona? Are we getting tired of the CES live streamers? I don't know. I haven't been really following any of the CES stuff, really. I just, the SVS stuff popped up. I saw that on Instagram. So I looked at a couple of videos on YouTube just to get some specs. But other than that, I haven't really seen anybody live streaming CES stuff. Or maybe I'm just not looking in the right places or the wrong places. I'm finishing my basement and wondering how subs sound on the concrete. Well, they are not going to shake your room as it would if you had wooden floors, because you're not going to get the same transfer of energy throughout your room. So some people kind of like not having that extra tactile sensation, which kind of you're really relying on the pressure from the subwoofer itself, which could sound a little bit cleaner. But then, if you really liked having your seat shaking for, Edge of Tomorrow or John Wick, then you're probably not going to get that. Well, you're not going to get that if it's on concrete. If you wanted to get that back, you could build a subfloor in your theater. You can get maybe those you can get, I forgot what it's called. I think I think it's called dry core. You can get those panels, those wooden. It's got like a membrane under it, and it's got the wood on top of it. Listen, I'm not a construction guy, so I don't know what the terms are, but it's got like the rubber membrane or whatever, and then you just lay it down. So once you do your floor with that, put your sub on top of it, and then you should be able to get some tactile sensation back. What did you think of the prices of the new SVS towers? I think they're very fair prices. I don't think they're expensive at all. I think especially for their flagship one, I think it's a very fair price considering the drivers that you get in it. I think $5,000 for the pair should be pretty doable for a lot of people. It's not like ultra high end, but it's not entry level either. Although they have some entry level models in there. And yes, I do like the way that they look. I am searching for a replacement for my Arendelle 1961 setup. Any advice, since Arendelle canned the 1961 series and the 1723 is too big? I would look at the XTZ speakers, actually. If you look at the XTZs that I reviewed a couple weeks back, or a couple months back, those would be a very good competitor to the 1961s. I would say it's a step up. I would say it's between the 1723 and the 1961. Great sounding speakers. They've been out for a good decade now. So I thought that was a strange move that Arendelle would announce the 1961s. Maybe what is it, like 2 years now, and then already replace them. That's such a strange move because I feel like they probably left a lot of their owners down. Because usually speakers run for about 10 years. You know what I mean? Like the lifespan of speaker designs. I mean, if it's really good, they can go longer, but typically it's like 10 years or so, right? For a really good quality speaker. I mean, I think XTZ's been going on for about like 10 years or so. And these still sound, I'm going to say these definitely sound better than 1961 because I reviewed the 1961s. XTZs, I think it's the M6s. They're not terribly expensive either. Check out those speakers. I think you'll be happy with them. I don't know where you can get them. I don't know where you're from, but check those out. Those are some pretty sweet speakers. What up, Devin Lott? JVC NZ9 or NX9 series projector. NZ9 all day with the laser. I know people say that the NZ lineup, the contrast is a little less than the bulb counterparts, but I will take 20,000 hours of lamp life any day over 6,000. So you're gonna have to go with the NZ laser, buddy. Not even worry about blasting that thing on high for accidentally leaving it on overnight for 8 hours. It's okay. You got 20,000 hours to mess around with. You're not gonna have to replace that for years. Brian De Palma films do a fantastic job mixing great music, effects, and dialogue without being too obnoxious. Sometimes films can be too music or effects heavy. I did like the first Mission Impossible. Great movie, especially with all the Dutch angles, the slightly soft focus. I liked how Dead Reckoning also harken back to the original Mission Impossible as well. That conversation with Kittredge. Great scene in Dead Reckoning, which was a nice callback to the original Brian De Palma Mission Impossible. What's up, Fred? Fred, what are you doing up so late? It's 2 o'clock in the morning. Shouldn't you be in bed, Fred? Have you come across Polk HTS12 sub? I have not come across Polk HTS12 sub. I don't know if that question was for me. I don't think I've reviewed anything Polk on the channel. But let me open up the YouTube channel right quick. If you guys are not subscribed to my second channel, I'm going to send you a link here, which you should subscribe, because this is where most of the late night streams end up going, so I don't overly populate the regular Shane Lee channel. So this is dynamically challenged. If you're not subscribed, subscribe. This is where I will do simultaneous live streams here, then also over there. Then typically I would just take off this live stream on this channel, and the other live stream would live on that channel. Because sometimes I might have a little too much to drink, where I don't want to keep it on the main channel, whereas I'll keep it on the other channel. That channel is where most of these live stream podcasts will live on, so you guys can watch whenever you want. So that's dynamically challenged. So do me a favor and subscribe to that channel. And of course you can, comment and all that stuff over there as well. I am my sleep been all over the place. Listen, I'm gonna have to go to sleep myself. It's 2 o'clock over here. So I want to thank you guys for hanging out tonight. Thanks for all the questions and all that stuff. And yeah, thanks for hanging out for till 2 o'clock in the morning. But I think we will be back. I think next. I think the plan is maybe next Friday. I think we're supposed to be doing a live stream with the RBH crew. Talk about their new speaker lineup, because they have some pretty cool looking speakers coming out, and maybe that 21-inch subwoofer again that I think Gene reviewed on his channel, which I'm supposed to be getting in myself. I think that's going to be coming up next week. And I think that's it as far as content. I don't have any reviews probably till February, when I get stuff back and going, until I get moved in and everything like that. But thanks for hanging out. And I'm going to log off. I'll see you guys in the next one. Subscribe to the other channel. Links right there. YouTube.com/@dynamically challenged. That's the other channel. Subscribe.